Okay, we began yesterday the parak of Asar Yuchsin Olam Bavel, and we spoke out that Kahanim, Leviim, Yisraelim, Kalolim, Gerim, Charurim, Mamzerim. So where's the source for these? That's what we're going to do today. It's all I got to tell. So the Gemara says that what? Geri, we're on the top of Ayin Amid Aleph, and we're on the top line. Geri v'chabruri. How do you know Gerim and Avodah Charurim? Now be aware that a Ger, he swears that he will not stay with Avodah Zarah, and an Eved that's Meshuchrar, that's free also, is going to stay away from Avodah Zarah. So therefore, Minolan. So it says regarding the Chilas card in Pesach. So the pasuk says, "The Chol Hanivdol mitumas goya aretz alehem," and all the people of Eretz Yisrael, they ate the Korban Pesach. They came back, right, together with everyone who had separated himself from the Tumah, meaning from Avodah Zarah. Mamela, this includes what? Avodim and Gerim. Mamzerim, this is a little more elaborate. Where do you know that they brought up Mamzerim? Minolan, the Chsiv. It says, Vayishma Sanballat HaChayroni. Now, Sanballat was a guy. That was his name, Sanballat HaChayroni. The Tovia HaEved HaMoni. Tovia, he was an Eved. Chsiv, Ki Rabim BeYehuda Balei Shavualai. There were many people in Yehuda, they made a shua to Tovia. Ki Chasen Hu L'Shechanya Ben Orach. This Tovia, he was the son-in-law of Shechanya, and Shechanya was a Jew. So we have an Eved marrying a Jew. The Chanan Benoi Lakach Es Bas Mishulam Ben Brechia, and his Tovia's son, whose name was Yechanan, married the Mishulam, the son of Brechia. Now, what do you see? That we have that Avodah married in, and Ksavan, he must be of the opinion to create mamzeris that avoid Eved Kechavim, the Eved Abba Bas Yisrael of Vlad Mamza, right? So the child would be a mamza. So therefore, we have Yechanan, who was the son of Tovia, and Shechenya, he was a mamza, and since he was a mamza, his children mamzerim. So you see that what they will marry Klal Yisrael. Lenny, we just started Ayin Amid Aleph. We're doing the sugya of. I sent you the link. I don't know if you got a chance to listen, but the sugya of the Yuchsin that came up from Bavel. So we just said that. We said yesterday that Ezra wanted to ensure that Bavel will be free of tainted lineage. So he took up all the psulim with him. He took mamzerim, he took chalalim, he took them all with him, because in Eretz Yisrael they had Batei Dinim that could check into the yichus of mishpachas. In Bavel, it wasn't going to be like that. So therefore, Bavel was left squeaky clean. So we want to know that. How do you know he brought them up? So we just said mamzer, that there was this person, Tovia, he was an Eved, and he's married into Klal Yisrael. You see his children, and we're holding of the opinion that an Eved, Haba Bas Yisrael, the Vlad is a mamzer. Okay, so we're on Ayin Amid Aleph. Ayin Amid Aleph, we're about 7 lines down. That's very good. Who says that the Vlad is a mamza? Vlad kosher. Where is your proof that mamzerim were brought up to Eretz Yisrael? The Su, another kasha. Mimai da havile b'nei. And who said, even the one who says that Charles Mamza had to know that he had children from his Jewish wife. Maybe they had no children. The Su, Mimai da hacha havile. How do you know that they were in Bavel? Uslikan, they went up to Eretz Yisrael. Maybe they were in Eretz Yisrael already, and they never came up from Bavel. So Mamela, this is not a good source for Mamzerim, either because we don't know if they were children, or if we don't know if they were brought up. Elamihacha. Here's the source that Mamzerim came up from Eretz Yisrael. The pasuk says, "The Elah ha'olim mitel melach." These are the ones who came up from Tel Melach, Tel Charsha, Kruv, Adon, V'imer. So the names Tel Melech, Tel Charsha, and 3 names, Kruv, Adon, and Imer. And it says, V'yachlu lahagid beis avoisam v'zaron. And they couldn't tell you who their father was, and who their children. Im Yisrael heim, whether they were Bnei Yisrael. Okay, that's what it says. Now, Tal Melach. So we know these people are questionable lineage. Tal Melach, Elu Bnei Adam shedoimim maseim l'masei sedoim. That these are people whose actions are similar to the actions of Sedoim. Shenefcha Tel Melach. We know that Sedoim turned into a pillar of salt, right? All the chemicals that came down, the salt sea, that whole area is Sidon. So Rashi tells us that Sidon, they were involved in Aroyas. They would take other people's wives. The male, we see that if they tell Malach is similar to Sidon. Sidon, we know with this Mamzerim. So male, we know that there were Mamzerim that came up from Bavel. Tel Charsha. What does Tel Charsha mean? This is the shtuki. This guy says, calls out to somebody and says, "Father," and the mother says, "Cheresh, be silent." And this is like the lashon of the Mishnah, Shisuki. We tell him to be quiet because we know who his father is. They couldn't tell you their house if their father were the Yidden. So who Asufi? That's an Asufi. Shenesach min ashuk. So you just went ahead and you included three things: Mamzer, Shtuki, and Asufi. These were all included, the ones that were brought up from Bavel to cleanse Bavel. Kruv Odin v'Imer. The pasuk just said Kruv Odin v'Imer. Amar Rabavo said Rabavo. Amar is Odin. Amar Odin says Odin. Meaning Odin means HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ani amati you Yisrael lefonai chashuvim kikruv. I said Bnei Yisrael should be chashim fun me like kruvim, which the Chayes HaKodesh, different malachim that are very close to Hashem. However, v'him somewhat some kinomer. They make themselves like a nomer, like a leopard. It seems like a leopard. It seems to be very promiscuous. The leopard. Ikidiyami Amar Abavo Amar Oda and HaKadosh Baruch Hu says Afapi Samu Atzum Kinomer. Even though Bnei Yisrael, they make themselves like leopards by being involved with illicit relations. Hein chashuv from lefana kekruv. They're still chashuv for me like a kruv. More positive spin on things. Amar Rabbi Chana Kol Noisa Isha Shein Hagenes Loi. Anyone who marries a woman who's puzzle, she's not fit for him. Right? We're speaking about. She has questionable lineage, fellas. We're speaking about we're not speaking with someone who's not right for him, meaning she's not good for him. She won't elevate him. We don't want to talk about that. We're speaking about psulim. Anyone who goes ahead and marries a woman that ain't hagenis, that's a psul, malo of a cost of the Torah considers it. If they plowed over the whole world with zroy and melach and they sowed it with salt. Shnemar, it says re'elo oilim mitel melach tel charsha, and again those were people of questionable lineage. Amar Rav Ada, Amar Rav, and the Gemara is going to speak about an Isha, about marriage. Kol anoisa Isha l'shum mammon. Anyone who marries a woman for money, have a bonim sheinim huganim, are going to have children that are not so good. Shenemar, it says Hashem bogdu, Hashem they have rebelled against. Ki bonim zorim yoladu, because they gave birth to bonim zorim. Right. Hashem at time, and maybe you'll say mom and polat, that the money will be polat. Tamaloymar atayochlim chodesh eschelkom. Yeah, they'll be eaten up right with their portions. Maybe only his portion, not her portion. All their portions. They may think it'll take a long period of time. No, okay, this is a very interesting limud. Okay, one more thing. Omer of Nachman by Yitzchak. A month comes in, a month comes out, and the money is lost. So if you learn the Gemara literally, you just say anyone who marries a woman for money, it seems to be of kahak tzoros. Now, if you look at Rashi says Dibra Maskal Bonim Zorim. It says it's speaking meisha psulaloi, u'l'shem mammon nispa. In other words, it's not speaking about someone who marries a woman stam for her money. It's speaking someone who's motivated to marry someone who is tainted lineage for the money. In other words, Rashi's learning it's going on an isha psula. It's not going on a regular woman. Right? It's brought down in Shulchan Aruch and Siman Beis and Eben Ezra. It brings that in the lashon of the Ramad lashon is isha psula law. So I found Baruch Hashem. I had in my kasavim this following shtickle, which gives a whole light on things. This is from the Sefer Aruch HaShulchan. Anyone who marries a woman that's not haguna, meaning she again tainted lineage, mifnei yafia because of her looks or her beauty, or mifnei memoina, or because of her money, then Havile bonim sheinim huganim. You're going to have children who are not muganim. The gamma momin lo yiskayim, and the money won't go ahead and continue to exist. It says Reish Perik Daled the Kidushin. That's the Gemara we just did. Avo in noisa isha kshera. If you marry a kosher woman, l'shem momin, shel moli mamoino hayanoisi acheres. You're marrying her only for you're marrying her for the money. If not for the money, you'd marry another woman. But you shenish kshera. Ein bezeh avain. There's nothing wrong with that. Openly, there's nothing wrong with that. V'adarabba. Ra'u lasas ken. You should do that. And who talmud chacham his monetary needs, his physical needs will be taken care of as a result. Men who are yasher, who have money, they would take a talmud chacham for their daughter. You give him a lot of money, and he would support him. That he can sit and learn. There's no bigger mitzvah than this. In the schar of supporting your son-in-law and learning, your business ventures will go ahead and show and be successful. So clearly from the Aruch HaShulchan, we're not speaking about a regular person. Don't make that mistake. This Gemara is speaking about you're marrying the woman for money. You shouldn't be marrying her. She's of tainted lineage. And the only reason you're marrying her is for the money, then you have service. But if you're marrying a kosher woman, that's not under discussion what we're having now. We're not discussing that based on the Aruch HaShulchan. The Omar the Omar Rabba Barav Ada, the Imila Omar Rav Sala Omar Rav Hamnuna, Kola Noisa Isha Shena Genesloi, Eliyahu Koftoi, Eliyahu ties him up, Kodesh Baruch Hu writes, Kodesh Baruch Hu whips him. Okay, I have no idea. The Tana Al Kulam Eliyahu Kaisev, all about all these questionable lineages. Eliyahu writes, Kodesh Baruch Hu Kaisim, Kodesh Baruch Hu signs. And what's the signature? What are they signing? The following: Oy loy lepoisel ezare. Woe to the person who passes his children. Who lapoigem es mishpachta. He taints his family. Who lenoise isha shein agenislo, marries someone who's not right for him. Eliyahu kofta b'Kodesh Baruch Hu writes. B'chol hapoisel pasel, and anyone himself who says that somebody else is puzzled, then poisel he passes himself. And he never speaks positively about other people. Anyone we say kol poisel ba'atzmai poisel, guys. Any guys who puzzles and calls somebody something, he himself is puzzled. Shmuel b'mumai puzzle. When he says that and he puzzles somebody, he has that psul. If a person calls somebody a name, then he has that psul. If you call somebody a mamza, be very careful, right? You never know what you are. So there's a whole Gemara now. We're going to have a whole Agadata for an Omid about the situation that arose between Rav Yehuda by Yecheskel, the great Shinana, the great Rav Yehuda, the Talmud of Shmuel, and Rav Nachman. We're going to have there was an incident that happened, and Rav Yehuda acted, and there was Azmana to Din. So basically, we have just a daf of stories. Who gavra dem in Adoi? There was this person in Adoi. The old Lebeit Mitvechayim Pumpadisa. He went to Pumpadisa. He went to the butcher shop in Pumpadisa. Amalahu. So he said to them, Havali Bisra, give me some food, give me some meat. Amalahu, he said to him, 1 second. Natar, wait. Ad the Shokol Shame, the Rav Yehuda bar Yecheskel, until we take care of what? The Shamish of Yehuda bar Yecheskel, the great Rav Yehuda. I'm Rav Yehuda Meshmuel, I'm Rav Yehuda Marav, this Rav Yehuda, the Shinana, the Talmud Muvik of Rav and Shmuel. So he has his Shamish is here. And you're not going to jump the line to go ahead of him. V'niyasav lach, and what? And then we'll give you. So Amar. So this person said, "Ma Yehuda Bash Sheviskel." Who is Yehuda? Not by Yecheskel, Baal Sheviskel. The Kadam Li the Shachol ben Kamai. Who is he? The Sheviskel that it should come before me. Sheviskel is a glutton. Rashi says is a glutton. So he was calling the great. He was speaking derogatory about what? About the great Rav Yehuda. And what happened? So also Omrei Rav Yehuda, the Shamus went told Rav Yehuda what happened, and Shamte Rav Yehuda went ahead and put that person in Chayrim. Omru, they told Rav Yehuda, Ruggle the Kari in Shiabde. Not only did this guy do this, and he called you a shviskel, but he calls other people avodim. So Achros Aleh Davdahu. Rav Yehuda went ahead and then said, you know what? You said you're an Eved, that you call people avodim, you're an Eved. I guess Rav Yehuda is following the dictum of his Rebbe Shmuel, that kol hapoisel ba'atzmai, right? B'muma pasal. In other words, if you're calling people that, you must be that. So Rabbi Yehuda is following the dictum of what of his Rabbi Shmuel. Azalhu, this person went. He went ahead and he subpoenaed Rav Yehuda to come to the Bezdin of Rav Nachman, right? I see Piska Dasmana, and they brought this Hasmana to this Rav Yehuda. As Rav Yehuda Lakamid Rav Huna, he came to Rav Huna to ask if he has to go. And again, Rav Yehuda Lachar, as we're going to see, was bigger than Rav Nachman. So Amalei, Ezel Oilo Ezel, should I go or not go? He asked Rav Huna. Amalei, Rav Huna told him, listen, really, you don't have to go. According to the letter of the law, you're greater than Rav Nachman. There's no reason for you to go. Listen, Rav Nachman is the son-in-law of the Reish Galusa. That the Kavod Reish Galusa, we find many Gemaras that deal with the Kavod Reish Galusa. So you go ahead to Rav Nachman's Bezdin. Asa Ashkei the Kav in Micah. Rav Yehuda came and he found Rav Nachman was building a Micah. You know, a Micah is a fence you build around a place that you shouldn't fall down. Amalei, Rav Yehuda said to him, like Sabal Amar, Lahadam Rav Huna Bar Idi Amar Shmuel. Don't you hold that Kimishin is Mana Adam Parnas Al Tzibur? Once a person's made a leader of a Tzibur, Asa Basiyas Malacha Bifnei Shloisha. You can't do menial work before what? 3 people. So how are you building a fence? You should be working. Amalei Rav Nachman said, Purta de Gundrisa Hu de Kavdinan. I'm only making a small part of it. Now he called a fence a Gundrisa, which is not the normal term. Now Rav Yehuda is on a mission. He wants to put Rav Nachman in his place. Like, who are you, Rav Nachman, to subpoena me to Bezdin? So he's going to get on a lot of lishonis that he used. So if he used the lashon kunjadisa, so Amalei Rav Yehuda told Rav Nachman, Nisanya Maika dechsiba raisa. Do you find it disgusting to use the word Maika that the Torah uses? Why are you using the word kunjadisa? Or mechitza dam rabbanan or mechitza. In other words, there are much more common words you could have used. Instead, this fancy word gunjadisa, you could have called it a Maika like the Torah, or you could have called it a mechitza like the Rabbanan. Amalei Rav Nachman said to him, Yosef Mar Karpita, sit down on a bench. Amalei Rav Yehuda said to him, when misani safsel dam Rabbanan, why can't you use the word the Rabbanan usually use? Where's the safsel? Or yitztaba the amri yenshu, or people call it itztaba. Why are you using this fancy word akrapita? Amalei Rav Nachman said, Rav Nachman's a slow learner, it seems to be. Lech lamar es regna. Go ahead and eat an es regna. Amalei. Hachi am Shmuel. Kol oim es regna. Anyone who's used the word es regna is tilsa beromes rucha, is a third of what? Of gaiva in him. Oh yes, rega the kari rabbanon, either call it an esrig. Oh yes, rega dami inchi, or call it an esrega of people, not es regna. Amalei Rav Nachman said, Lishti mar anbaga. Anbaga seems to be some type of breakfast drink that they used to eat. So Amalei, so Rav Yehuda said, Mi soni asparagus, the Kari Rabbanan, it was called asparagus according to the Chachamim. And so why don't you use that word? Amalei, Teisei doinag hashkinan. Let doina, my daughter, come and serve it to you. Amalei, Hachiyam Shmuel, this is what Shmuel said. You shouldn't be using Isha to serve. So Rav Nachman said, Katana, she's a Katana. Says Rabbi Yehuda, Beferish Am Shmuel, Emishtamish Bisha Klal, whether it's what, whether it's a Katana, whether it's a Gedola. So Nishad Leimar Shalom Yalta. So Nachman said, would you like to send a greeting to my wife Yalta? Yalta is one of the famous, Yalta, Bruya, we have some famous woman being used. Yalta was Rav Nachman's wife. So Nachman asked Rav Yehuda, would you like to shik a grease to my wife? Amalei, Hachayam Shmuel, Kol B'isha Erva. We're going to spend a little time on this in a second. Kol B'isha Erva. If I'm going to go ahead and greet her, then she may greet me back, and that'll be Kol B'isha Erva. Okay, we'll speak about that soon. So Efshal Yidei Shliach, maybe I'll send a Shliach. Amalei Hachayam Shmuel Amid Beis, Ein Shalom B'Shalom Isha El Yidei Baila. Ein Shalom B'Shalom Isha El Yidei Baila. Could even through a husband. Amalei Hachayam Shmuel Ein Shalom B'Shalom Isha Klal. Forget it, not at all. Shalch Leila V'Sayu. Rav Nachman's wife Yalta had listened to this whole conversation, and Shari Le Tigre, right? Just go ahead and finish what you have to do with this fellow. Like the Shabbat Kishar Amoritz, that he shouldn't go ahead and treat what? Like Stamin Amoritz. So what's this Indian? Kol B'isha Erva, the first thing you think about is the Kol B'isha Erva usually is derech zemer. It's usually when you're singing, right? When you're singing, that will be the Isser. So there's a Rashba in Brachis Tafchav Dalid, and here's the Lashon. But Shokol Shelis Shalom V'shivasahu erva yoisa mistam koil the kimashish bediba koi krivadas. The whole Indian of Kol Bisha Erva is to avoid what the voice effect may have on some type of connection, male-female connection. So if you're going to go ahead, and shika grease to the wife, you're going to shika grease to the Rebbitzin, right? And she's going to answer. So even if the coil is not derek zemer, but the purpose of what you want to avoid is there. The relationship male and female. Now I have a problem with this because my Rashi once said to me, "Was macht dein Rebbitzin?" He asked me how my Rebbitzin is doing, but he didn't say send He didn't say send her my regards. He said, "Was macht dein Rebbitzin?" He asked me about her. He inquired about her. So that's maybe a little different. But when you're sending regards to her and she's going to send regards back, that would be equated with what? With the purpose behind Kol B'Isha Erva. That's the Rashba. It makes a lot of sense. I looked up in the Mesifta, then the Ein Yaakov brings two other reasons. An Adam Chashav is different. A regular person could ask, but an Adam Chashav is different. Adam Chashav is different. And a really interesting pshat is, listen to this, that it used to be a custom, if you would say Shalom Aleichem to a person, the person would answer you Derech Semer. You say Shalom Aleichem, and he goes, they would answer back in the Lashon of Zemer. So Mamela, it would be Kol B'Isha Erva. So you have a few drachim how to go ahead and answer it. Either the Rashba's Derech, that any Lashon of Kreit, that Lashon of the asking about a woman is going to have a point of Krevis, and that's the whole point of staying away from it. So even if it's not a Lashon of Zemer, she doesn't answer Lashon Zemer, will be a problem. You have the two other pshatim is that Adam Chashav should not do that, or pshat that a person who is a person who they would answer derech chashivas, they would answer in a chashiv way. They would answer by singing, and therefore you should not go ahead and do it. Okay, we're up to Penny. We're up to Ayin Amid Beis, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 lines down. Okay, about 6 lines down, and we're discussing the following. So Rav Nachman said to Rabbi Yehuda, my shate the marhacha. What are you doing over here? So Amalei, Rabbi Yehuda told Rav Nachman, Taska das manisa shodamar abasre. You summoned me, subpoenaed me. So Amalei, Rav Nachman said, Hashta shusa demar loidemerna. The words of Mar, I don't know how to talk. Taska das montim mishabrino lamar. In other words, obviously, who am I to send you? I don't understand. Even I can't speak to you in a normal manner. You're so much greater than me. I would go ahead and invite you to subpoena you to Bezdin. So Afik, Diska das Manasa. Rabbi Yehuda produced the Hasmana. He produced the subpoena. So mi bechade from his pocket, from his literally his chest. The Achsele, he showed it to him. V'amalei hagavra diska. Here's the person of Yehuda, and here's the diska. So Amalei, Rav Nachman said, "Hoyel v'asa ma lahacha." Since you're here already, let's hear the nidin. In other words, I was wrong in summoning you, but since you're here already, let's hear the nidin. What's going on? People should say the chanfei rabbanon adadi. The chachamim, they find favoritism with each other. Like, you know what? I cut a deal with you. They'll know about the hazmana, and they'll see that you came and nothing happened, so it won't be good for business. My time Shamte Mar Lahu Gabra. Rav Nachman asked Rav Yehuda, why did you put this person in Chayrim? So he told him, Tzir Shlichud Rabbanan. He was Mitzar the Shluchah Rabbanan. Look at the Anivus guys of Rav Yehuda. He really made fun of Rav Yehuda. He said Rav Yehuda ben Shevisko, right? He, instead of saying his name, he said, who's this Shevisko? He made fun of him that he's a glutton. But Rabbi Yehuda was not makbid on his own covet. He was makbid on the covet of a shamus that he had gone ahead and embarrassed. Very a nice little diak. V'nagdei mar. So why don't you give him, instead of putting him chayrim, why don't you give him malchus? That's what Rav Nachman asked Rav. That's when Bezdin had power. Rav Nachman asked Rav Yehuda, why don't you give him malchus instead of putting him chayrim? The Rav mangid al man the mitzar shluchid rabbanon, because Rav, the great Rav, would go ahead and he would he would give malchus on people who were mitzvah Talmidei Chachamim, the shliach of Talmidei Chachamim. So Rav Yehuda said, "The other three no yavadlei. I did worse. I'm worse than malchus is chayrim." Now Rav Nachman asked Rav Yehuda, "My time achvis mar alei the avdahu. Why do you call him? Publicize that he's an eved? So Amalei the ruggle the Korean shiavde, because this person was accustomed to calling other people avodim." Vitani, and the Brisa says, "Kala paisel paisel, ve'enim bedaber b'shvachah la'olam," and it doesn't speak about what positively about anybody. Well, my Rabbi Shmuel said, "B'mumad paisel." So if he's calling other people avodim, he must be an eved. So Rav Nachman said to Rav Yehuda, "Eimedam Shmuel, right? Lamechashlei." It means to go ahead and be chayish for it, but lach usei Allah mi army. In other words, good, you be chayish that if a guy calls you a mamzer, be chayish is a mamzer, but to publicize that he is a mamzer and ruin his life, that you do. And call a paisel, the mumay paisel, good. It's to be chayish that maybe there's question about a lineage, but to say it as a fait accompli, as a dava pashit, that this guy is such an eved. Now, as it would be, Amar le'ahu bardina Rav Yehuda, the didi koris li'avda. Right? You can imagine, he called me an Eved. This is the person who had subpoenaed Rav Nachman, the Rav Yehuda. The Asinui Beichashmonoim Malka. Eved, I come from the house of the Chashmonoim. Okay, got a little background, guys, over here before we get to Gemara. The Gemara in the beginning of Baba Basra tells us a Maisa where Herod had killed out all the chachamim, and Hurdis was an eved himself, a rebellious eved, and the Chashmonoim after the Maisa of Chanukah, they had usurped the Malchus. They had taken the Malchus. Yaakov Avinu said that Lo Yasa Shevet mi Yehuda, that the Malchus should be from Shevet Yehuda and not from anywhere else. And what happened was that Yochanan Kohen Gadol, we know Matisyo, we know the tremendous Matisyo Kohen Gadol, the tremendous ness of Chanukah took place, and the Chashmonoim, they took the Malchus. Chashmonoim took the Malchus, and the Ramban in Parshas Vayechi says on that pasuk Vayashem Yehuda that even though the Chashmonoim were Chasidim Gemurim, great people, Talmidei Chacham Chasidim, right? Nonetheless, as a result, they were wiped out because they took the Malchus. They were over on the words of the Saba Yaakov by taking the Malchus. Hurdis, that Kiyam was Hurdis killed them all out, except one. It was one beautiful girl. She was the last remaining descendant of the Chashmonoim. Hurdis wanted her as a queen. She went up to the roof and said, "Anyone who says they come from the Chashmonoim should know they're avodim." And she jumped off the roof and killed herself. And the Gemara describes he preserved her in honey. Okay, again, so that's the prelim to this person saying, "I come from this yichus," right? He thought he was coming from yichus, but really, what's he proclaiming on himself? That Rabbi Yehuda was right. You're an eved. It's fascinating. So the Gemara says, so he shows up. And what happens? So the guys say, "Amalei Ahu Bardina Rav Yehuda said the Bardina Rav Yehuda the Didi Karsli Avdi the Asina Beis Chashmonai Malka." Amalei Rav Yehuda said, "Hachi Amashmuel Kol Damim the Beis Chashmonai Kasina Avdahu." Anyone who says they come from the Chashmonaim is an eved. Amalei Rav Nachman said, "How do you Lasavel Almar Lahadam Rav Abba Amarav Huna Amarav Kol Talmid Chacham Shemoira Halacha Uba." Anyone who's Moira Halacha in Kaida Maisa Amra Shoyim Loi, Vim Lav Ein Shoyim Loi. So Amalei Ha'ika Rav Masna the Koi Kavase. There's Rav Masna. It's usually you can't. First, you have to have the Maisa before, not the Maisa afterwards. And here you have the Maisa afterwards. So because he showed up after he gave the psak. So Rav Yehuda says, Rav Masna said like me, and believe it or not, listen what happens. Rav Masna had not shown up in Nadoy. He hadn't been seen there for the last 13 years. Ahu Yuma, that day, Mamish, Bidiyuk, that day, Asa came. Rav Yehuda said to Rav Masna, Dakamar my Oma Shmuel ki choda kara aguda v'chada kara b'mabara. Do you remember what Shmuel said when he had 1 foot on the ground and 1 foot on the ferry? Amalei said Rav Masna to Rav Yehuda, Hachi Am Shmuel, called Amma Beis Chashmonai Malka Kasina Avdahu Tlo Yishturi Minayu, because there was no remnant. Elahi Ravisa, only that one girl. The Salka the Igru went up to the roof. Varam Yakola lifted up a voice, and Va'amra called Amma Beis Chashmonai Na Avdahu, because they come from Hordis. Naflami Igru Mesa, she fell and killed herself. Achwas Allah the Avdahu. So the Mach was right on this person. That in fact he wasn't Eved. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Ahu Yuma, that day that they said that this person was an Eved, it caused tremendous problems in Ardoi. Why? Because now any relative of his, questionable lineage. So Akra Kama Kibus Kesuvasa. They ripped up many Kesubas that day because it was in Ardoi, because it was a Mekach twice. Because they said, look, we're married to what? To a Shivcha. Anyway, Kika Nafik. As Rabbi Yehuda was leaving the city, you can imagine Rabbi Yehuda was not a very popular person in Nardoi. He destroyed many marriages. So as he was leaving the city, Nafik Abbasrei, the people came out after him, Lamirgameh, they wanted to stone him. So Amalu, Rabbi Yehuda told him, Isha Siku, Shasiku. If you're quiet and leave me alone, good. Bimlav, Migalina Alaichu, I'm going to reveal about you, Hadama Shmuel, Tarti Zeraisa, there are 2 families. Ika ben Ardoi, Chad Mikraya de Beyoina, one that's called Ben Yoina, the Chad Mikraya de Be Rafti, and the other one's called Be Rafti. Now a Yoina is, of course, is a kosher bird, is a dove, and a Rafti is a raven, which is a non-kosher bird. Simonecha is Tame, that one's from the Bnei Araftem. They are what? They are psulim, and Torah from the Yoina is tar. So if you leave me alone, fine. If not, then I'm going to go ahead and be machras. Now, l'chayra, if he said there's mishpacha b'nei yoina, mishpacha, he already was machras. He just told you who they were, right? He just said who they were. If you leave me alone, fine. If not, there's 2 mishpachas. One's b'nei yoina, one's b'nei raftech, right? So l'chayra, you just pronounced it. So what does the Gemara mean? I will announce it. So there's 2 pshatim. One is that this is based upon the which sefer, the Marsha. Marsha says that either the words of Bnei Yoina and Bnei Araftich are the words of Rav Ashi and Ravina. Rav Yehuda never said it. Rav Yehuda did not make an announcement. Yehuda simply said, if you leave me alone, fine. If not, I'm going to make an announcement of 2 mishpachas. And the Gemara added, Ravina and Rav Ashi, who were the 2 mishpachas? Bnei Yoina and Araftich. But he himself did not say that. Or it could be that the names of the mishpachas were forgotten, and he just mentioned them, but no one knew who they were. Those two possibilities. Anyway, what did they do? The people Shadula who Rigma Midayo, they took their stones and they flung them in the river. They called Atma, and the river got stuffed up.
Laius, can I just interject something? Why couldn't this say that he was just giving them the adjectives of what they were like, not that their names of the families?
He says Bnei Yoina. He calls them one Bnei Yoina.
Yeah, so you refer to people by.
Seems to me from the Marsha's question that was their names. That was the family. That was known by their names.
Okay.
You see some of his question that way. And in Machzor of Yehuda Pumpadisa, Ada v'Yoina son, Avde. Rabbi Yehuda was Machzor Pumpadisa. These 2 people, Ada and Yonasan, they're avodim, and they're psul to come to the kahal. Yehuda bar Papa Mamzir, he's a Mamzer. Bati bar Tuvia is an Eved. Baromes Rucha, Bati bar Tuvia, who was an Eved, Baromes Rucha, like Shakal Gitat Cherusa. He's such a Balgaiva, he did not accept the get of a Cheres from his master, and he remains an Eved. Machmis Rava b'Mechuza, Baloi, Danoi, Taloi, Miloi, Zagai, these all names of mishpachos or places. Kulam lifsal, all these people, they're puzzled come to the kahal. Rav Yehuda, right? Goivai is Gevaine. When it says Gevaine, why was the psul? They were from the Gevainim, the Nesinim, that they were not allowed in the kahal. Dur Nisa, right? Is Duroi Nesinoi. They were a village of Nesinim also. Rav Yosef, hi, Beikuvi the Pumbedisa, the place that was next to Pumbedisa called Beikuvi. Kulam Dav, they all a bunch of Avadim. Again, there was a yichus. You need a yichus brief. When a person gets married, they go ahead, they check. They want to make sure that the Masada Kidushin checks to see, a little bit about the mishpacha, what the story is in the mishpacha, and often, sometimes things arise that are very questionable, right? But Moshe, as true as my Rabbi, had incidents with people with questionable lineage and find heterim for them. I'm Rabbi Yudah Mishmul. Arba meyas avodim, v'imiloi arbis alaf ma'avodim, hoyo the Pashcha ben Imer. Pashcha ben Imer was a chasher person. He lived in the time of Yirmiyahu. He was a kohen, and he had 4,000 avodim, in 400 avodim, and others say 4,000 avodim. The kulam nitma'u b'kahuna, and all of them got mixed up in the kahuna, and therefore we have a lot of questions about kahuna because Pashcha was a kohen. The whole kohen in our day and age, sheyesh by azis ponim. Any kohen that has an azis ponim, he's cruel. He has a cruel look about him. He's right. He's one of the hallmarks of Klal Yisrael of Anu by Shon Rachman Gam Chasan Ben Einom is the cruelty. If you have kahanim that have this azis ponim, this look, they descend from that shidduch, from the shidduch of Pashka. Amar Abaya Kula Yasvan B'Shura bin Nardoi. All these mishpachas of Adam, they sit in the Shura Nardoi, right? And they're sitting in the Shura like in one row in Nardoi. I guess it's a right. Oh, not B'Sura, B'Sura. They're sitting in Surah Nardoi, Upligi, and he argues on that Shmuel said that any coin that has an asas upon him, the Amar Rebbe Lazar, and Ra'isi coin v'asas metzach al tar akrav. Don't think bad about him. Question on this lineage. Shnemar va'amcha kimerive kohen. Your nation is like kohanim that are fight. They fight. So I guess they fighting that has a certain asus about him is not necessarily a sign of tainted lineage. Amar Rav Abin bar Ravada. Amar Rav Kol Naisi Isha Sheino again is like anyone who marries a woman that is not proper for him. Getting back to that theme, Kish Kadosh Baruch Hu Masher Shchinasai, when the Kadosh Baruch Hu rebuilds the Beis Hamikdash, Meir al Kol Shvatim, being Meir alav. He's going to testify in the Shvatim about the Yichus, but not about them, because it says Shiftei Ka Eidus Yisrael, Amos I have a Eidus Yisrael, is Mansha Shvatim Shiftei Ka. When is that? When is there? That's when the Shvatim are Shiftei Ka. That's when Kadosh Baruch Hu testifying them. The Ben Yehuda says the Gemara, the Beis Hamikdash will testify in these people. You know how it will be? We know in the Beis Hamikdash, one of the nisim was that you oindim tzfufim, you stood together, packed together, umishtachim revachim, and you bowed down with a lot of room. That's if you were a Jew without a tinted lineage. Then you'd have that miracle happen to you. But if you were not, that's the bedika. You would not be able to bow down. You would be cramped and you bow down cramped. That's the way the Ben Yehuda learns this incident. Okay. We know. Yeah. My wife just said, today's Rameh Shapiro's yard site. Zayin Cheshvan, the daf should be in the schus of Rameh Shapiro. The daf is in the schus of Rameh Shapiro and Kol Amcha Yisrael. Amrav Chama B'Rav Chanina K'Shakadosh Baruch Hu Mashva Shchinasai Ein Mashva El Al Mishpachas Miyuchas Sheb Yisrael Shneimar Beisa Hinu Hashem Eya L'Kim L'Chol Mishpachas Yisrael Al Bi Hashem Tol Mishpachas Yisrael L'Chol Yisrael Nemar. It doesn't say L'Chol Yisrael El L'Chol Mishpachas. All Chol Yisrael. V'Hema Yulu L'Am. The pasuk says, "Gal be to me as a nation." Amarav Baruch Huna Sumayli Yisrael Yesh Ben Yisrael L'Geirim. Okay, Be'ez Hashem. We'll hold off on this. We'll speak about Geirim tomorrow. Okay, let's say a little Tehillim.